Ciao everybody, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. This is a Coach's Corner. My name is Julian Gennady, and it is the most anticipated Coach's Corner of the summer 2022 market for Juventus. It is the Arkadiusz Milik Coach's Corner. I know everyone's rip-raring to go to hear what I have to say about him and what stats and what strengths and good characteristics he will provide Juventus this season. There's a lot of sarcasm in my voice, but I'm going to give you a straight, honest answer when I'm in the conclusion or leading up to the conclusion of my thoughts of this deal, of the signing. So the financials of it is Arkadiusz Milik to Juventus from Marseille, 2 million euros going to Marseille as an initial loan fee. If Juventus want to keep him as an option, they will pay a further 8 million euros to Marseille, and the contract is 3.5 million euros per year for definitely one season. Again, if we accept the option and we pay Marseille the rest of the transfer fee, that means we will pay Milik another 3 years at 3.5 million euros. So that's the finances out of the way. Now let's get into what Arkadiusz Milik is. He's a out-and-out number 9 striker, a vice Vlahovic that Max Allegri desperately wanted. As you can see in the player profile, he's 28 years old, born February 28th, 1994, so he's going to be 29 at the end of the season. And you can see some basic stats on the right-hand side of your screen there. He's first and foremost a reference point in the attack. He's a number 9. He's not going to come collect the ball so often. He is going to be a vertical threat. He is going to be a substitute player for Vlahovic. Maybe he can create some not controversy. What do I want to say? He can add some fire to Vlahovic and keep him on his toes, because Milik has the ability to score goals. He does. You can see he scored 30 goals in 52 games last year for Marseille, so he was available a lot. And we'll get into his injury stuff a little bit later, but there's some very average green bars there. Again, it's a relatively cheap deal, and if you think about it, if we do end up paying the full fee and including everything together, we'll be paying 17 million euros for Arkadiusz Milik, and he'll be here for 4 years, as you hope, if you exercise the option, a serviceable backup striker. So, and again, a guy that Allegri, our coach, wants. So that's my positivity right now. I will give you other stats and go through them and let us decide at the end if it's how he fits and if it's worth it. So next we're going to go to the injury report. It's a laundry list. It's pretty full. We all know what happened with his knee at Napoli. He tore his ACL. Excuse me. And he missed quite a bit of time. He's had knee injuries after that as well. And the concerning part is now he's had a lot of muscle injuries in the latter stages of his career. So latter stages, I mean the last part of his career. That's a concern, knowing our medical team, knowing Folletti's at the helm, and we just have to hope that because he's not playing as much, or he won't be playing as much, that he won't be that injury prone per se. So that's the injury report with him. Right now he's a clean bill of health. He played 15 minutes on the weekend against Roma, and he looked okay. He looked like a backup striker. That's what it looked like to me, which is fine. Next, we're going to go on to the goals and shot created actions per 90. That's one of my favorite stats because it illustrates not just eye test, but it also gives you a background detail on analytics and what they provide, just not on the score sheet. So here we go. He likes to, so we can see some green bars there. A lot of his shot creating actions or goal creating actions are just him shooting the ball. He's not going to create a lot of stuff for other players. he's not that type. He's not the type of striker. He is a guy who gets the ball in the box and shoots. He's not going to do 17 step overs and play through ball through two defenders onto an on-running one of our team or one of his teammates. He's not going to do that. He is a shoot first kind of guy. Fine. Again, you're number 9. Score goals. Good. But I just do not expect him to create much for other players. So what I will do is compare him to Vlahovic a bit, because he's a little bit better than Vlahovic with his back to goal. You saw that in glimpses against Roma, where he was very confident getting the ball with the defender behind him. And then he came and collected and sprayed the ball out wide. These are things maybe Vlahovic can learn and discuss with Milik in terms of getting better in that game, in that part of his game. So that could be a good thing. It's also like we should know that Milik is going to keep Vlahovic on his toes throughout the season, which is also a good thing. That means Vlahovic can't take a game off because maybe Milik steps in and scores a goal. And then Allegri's like, So I think this is a good signing for Vlahovic's sake. And I'll continue the positivity that way. Next is the shooting stats. So again, nothing eye-popping. Just he scores half a goal a game, half a goal per 90 minutes. And you know that through the strike rate of 30 goals in 52 games or whatever it was last year. So he found the net quite a bit. He was pretty prolific in the Europa League. He's pretty prolific in that competition. As you can see, the shots on target percent misses the net a lot. He's a meh. There's not much to explain here. He's the guy who's going to come off the bench and spell off Vlahovic when you need to, or you throw him on with Vlahovic if you're down in a game. You need to cross balls into the box so you can cause a ruckus in the box. Maybe scores a couple goals here and there. Picture Fernando Llorente. I don't know if anyone remembers him, but he's a little bit more mobile than Llorente, but it's the same idea. Big, strong dude, holds the ball up, and can decently pass the ball. Decently pass the ball. So we'll continue. Shooting and passing. So we've collected data again with comparing former Juventus players, current Juventus players, and players we were linked to this summer. So we have obviously Morata, Vlahovic, Moise Kean, Timo Werner, Memphis Depay. And as you can see, Arkadiusz Milik underperformed his expected goals. So that's not good, especially when you see Dusan Vlahovic is at plus 5.4. And you see Depay down there exceeding his expected goals. And people poo-poo the expected goal stat, but it's a pertinent stat, especially if you are a proponent of the game where you get yourself into the right areas and have the opportunities to score. That's what that measures. So I wouldn't completely disregard the expected goal stat. I know a lot of people like to do that, but if you understand what the stat is, it's not the be-all and end-all. But if you understand what the stat is, it is quite important. And then you see the passing per 90. I said like maybe 3 minutes ago that Arkadiusz Milik is decent at passing. On this list, he's the best. Which is something. Like, it is something, because you have a couple of players in there where you're like, really? He's better at passing than Depay? Well, there you go. So, sorry, not better at passing. He's more accurate at passing than Depay is. So there you go. That's a little comparison with Milik and a couple other fellas. More passing stats here. It's greener. Again, I've already made the point where he's decent at passing. He's not going to reinvent the wheel at Juventus. He's a guy who could lay the ball off, as you saw a couple. Remember when Higuain used to take the ball up in the middle and come collect in the middle and then switch the ball out as soon as possible? I see Milik doing the same thing. I literally saw him do the same thing against Roma. So I think that's all right. That's a pro for him. But yeah, not going to cross the ball in the box. He's going to be the guy in the box. As you can see, some of the red stars or red bars down there. So yeah, we'll move on to some possession stats because that's also key as a prime center forward. If you're a center forward, the ball needs to stick to your feet. The ball cannot ricochet like you're a wall. The ball needs to be stuck like glue on your feet, especially in and around the box. One thing Ali and I consistently criticize Vlahovic is his play around the edge of the box. So maybe again Milik can give some guidance to Vlahovic of how to better himself at that part of the game. So here's some possession stats. Speaking of that, you see the missed controls, not very good. The progressive passes received is actually not bad. That means, excuse me, he receives the ball in an advantageous area in the attacking third or neutral third. So basically, probably 35 to 40 yards from goal or meters. I don't know what you guys use, whoever's watching this. But it's getting into spots on the pitch in the attacking or neutral third that are allowing you to go and attack the goal. So you can see a lot of red there still, but he is better than Vlahovic at receiving the ball, which is crazy, with his back to goal. Some more possession stats. So with Dusan Vlahovic, and we have comparisons. Oh, I can't see for a sec. Hold on. Yep. So obviously you see the receiving percentage. He's better than Vlahovic by 5% or by 4%. Obviously Depay, technical genius. So he's got 75% receiving, so his touch is usually good and on point. Milik's second worst on this list. Even Moise Kean is a bit better than him. But the concerning I know this is a Milik coach's corner, but Dusan Vlahovic is also getting a lot of talk here, and he's the worst by a long shot. So that's a little concerning. But we move on, because I think we can get into Vlahovic on a different type of video. Our final picture before we do our pros and cons. Final synopsis on Milik is miscellaneous stats. Again, we're comparing with some of the other players that we've gathered, and him and Keane actually win a lot of aerial duels, especially in comparison to the monster Vlahovic, Morata, Timo Werner, and Depay. So, just another element added by the Juventus management here. Stuff that Milik does that Vlahovic doesn't do. Win the ball in the air a bit better, receives the ball better around the edge of the box or out in the attacking third. Just little things like that. And they've acquired it here in Arkadiusz Milik for a relatively cheap fee. And I think that's what this is. And I think every Juventus fan knows what this is at this point. So, do we get mad at this signing? At the end of the day, no. Is it underwhelming? Yes. Is it season changer? No. This is not season changing signing, but that's okay. So, excuse me again. So what to expect? The pros from Arkadiusz Milik. He's your prototypical average number 9. He's a pretty good finisher in and around the box. He can score in many ways: headers, volleys, tap-ins, whatever. He's a fox in the box kind of deal. And again, I have to point out, if we create the chances for him, because obviously we know Juventus don't create the best chances. That's why Vlahovic looks starved at points during games. He's pretty smart spatially inside the opponent's penalty area. He can spell Dusan off for some rest and knows Serie A well from his time at Napoli. And he, again, one of the biggest pros is He's relatively inexpensive on an original loan deal. So like 2 million euros is okay. Like you're not, and it's 3.5 million salary, so it's 5.5 million total for the season. Okay, I get it. For a guy with experience, who's going to be a sub, who Allegri wants, so I get it. What are the cons? Do we absolutely need another number 9 with Keane here? So we still have Moise Keane on the books and on the roster. Do we need another number 9, like average number 9, like Milik, when we needed creative attackers? As you can see in our first 3 games of the season, I know Chiesa is out, and I know Di Maria's been out, but we've lacked creativity. Kostic is just whipping crosses, spamming crosses. Cuadrado doesn't even pass the ball. I'm just, if Depay was here, would it be different? That's all I'm saying. Milik isn't creative at all, as I showed you in the other graphics, and doesn't improve our attack at all. We barely create chances as it is. As I just mentioned, he's kind of injury prone. So I'm going to give my final verdict. I want you to also give your verdict in the comment section below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will have more positive Coaches Corners in the future. I'm hoping a Paredes one is coming soon, but stay tuned. My final verdict is it's meh. If you gave me if you told me to rank it out of 10, I'd give it a 5, a classic 5 out of 10, 50%. He's a dude that plays football professionally. I have relatively no expectations for Arkadiusz Milik. If he chips in 5 to 7 goals this year, it's a win. And as sad as that sounds, it's a win in my book. It's a huge win if Vlahovic gets better and learns a couple of tricks that Milik has. If Vlahovic gets better because of it, it's a massive win. If he scores more than 5 to 7 goals in all competitions, it's a massive win. But I don't have the most expectations for him, and that's okay. You might, but that's why it's the beauty of soccer. You have your own opinions. I have my own opinions. Let me know your opinions about Milik in the comment section below. Like I said, I'm Julian Gennady. Follow me at Gennady151 on Twitter. Follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a tremendous day. Ciao.